Hi, my name is Autif Kamal, and this is episode 32 of Be Logical. This one is about the problem with taxing corporations and wealthy individuals too little, and the problem with taxing them too much. I'll start off by giving you an example of the problem with taxing them too little. Now, in 2012, Apple had a revenue of $156 billion. Their income was $41 billion. That's basically their net profit. They paid $6 billion worth of taxes. That's only 14% of their income when they should be paying 35%. Also, in 2009 to 2012, they avoided paying $74 billion worth of taxes. In terms of the taxes they paid and avoided, I'm getting this information from the New York Times. The article is written by Nelson D. Schwartz, and the name of the article is "Apple Avoided Billions in Taxes," Congressional Panel says. Now, the way that Apple avoided paying their taxes was that they had subsidiaries in different countries, such as Ireland. And the thing is, the United States cannot tax entities that reside in different countries. So, if Apple has their money with entities in different countries, then of course they're not going to have that money taxed. Now, Tim Cook, the current CEO of Apple, had a response to the accusations of Apple avoiding paying taxes, and this is what he had to say. Apple is most likely the largest corporate income taxpayer in the US, having paid nearly $6 billion in taxes to the US Treasury. Now, first of all, he says most likely. It shows me that he's not certain. It makes me think that he's guessing. So to me, that first part sounds not credible. And even if it was credible that Apple is the largest corporate tax income payer in the US, the point is that Apple still is not paying how much they're supposed to be paying, which is 35%, not 14% of their income. Now, here's the thing. If corporations don't pay taxes, or if wealthy individuals don't pay taxes, the federal government relies more on individual income and payroll taxes. The people who pay individual income taxes are those in the top 25% of individual income earners, and those individuals are those who make $66,000 or more, which is about 49 billion people in the US. Examples of the kinds of professions that these 49 million people might have are those who are accountants, police, firefighters, nurses, human resource managers, and so on. The list goes on. And in terms of the top 25%, I'm getting this information from Dean Catino, who wrote the article "We Are the 25%," and he writes for the US News. In terms of payroll taxes, anyone who gets a paycheck has to pay a payroll tax. So not necessarily those who just make $66,000 or more, but those who also make less than $66,000, because they also get a paycheck. So basically, working professionals, as I would call them, are those who have to make up for the corporations and wealthy individuals that aren't paying all the taxes that they're supposed to. Also, just to give you an idea of how much those who make the top 25% and those who make less than $66,000 contribute to the federal budget, I want to give you a breakdown. Now, in 2012, the US federal budget consisted of $3.5 trillion. Of that, individual income made up $1.6 trillion, or 46%, and payroll tax made up $1.2 trillion, or 35%. So right there, that's already 81% of the federal budget. And then the corporate income tax made up $350 billion, which is about 10%. Okay, so the payroll tax and income tax is way higher than it's supposed to be, and that's because there are corporations and wealthy individuals who are not paying how much they're supposed to be paying. In terms of the breakdown that I'm getting here, I'm getting it from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. The name of the article is Policy Basics: Where Do Federal Tax Revenues Come From? And if you want a visual, you can take a look at that if you want. Now, I'll give you an example of when corporations and wealthy individuals are taxed too much and why that's a problem. Now, in 2012, France basically confiscated the income of wealthy individuals. I say confiscated just because of how much they're taxing these wealthy individuals. Now, in 2005, there were 25 million households. I'm giving you the 2005 numbers because those are the most recent numbers that I could find. In 2012, more than 8,000 households were taxed at 100%. And in terms of the number of households that were taxed, I'm getting this information from CNBC. The name of the article is Thousands of French Households Taxed 100%, and it was written by Holly Elliott. Okay, now in 2011, 12,000 households were taxed at 75%, and approximately 10,000 households were taxed at 85%. Now, because the number of households that are taxed so high are so low, the assumption that I'm making is that these households are those of wealthy individuals, since there are much more individuals that are in the middle class or like lower class. Now, Vincent Grandel is a tax lawyer in Paris. He handles taxes for corporations and wealthy individuals, and he claims that a lot of his clients are asking whether it's worth living in France. And also, I need to back up for a second and just clarify who counts as a wealthy individual. Basically, anybody in France who makes $256,000 US dollars or more would be qualified to be called a wealthy individual. In terms of the information I'm getting about Vincent Grandel, I'm getting this from the New York Times. The name of the article is Indigestion for les Riches. I don't know how to pronounce that in French. Les Riches in a Plan for Higher Taxes, and it was written by Liz Alderman. Now, think about this. Try to see if you can come up with an answer for yourself on this. If a wealthy individual is getting most or all of their income taxed, do they have much of an incentive to remain where they are? Personally, I would say no, because also it's especially if they're aware of other countries which are taxing their citizens less, and that's the case for France. They have a lot of people who are tax exiles, a lot of wealthy individuals who are tax exiles. And a tax exile is an individual who goes to another country because of their lower tax rates. And according to Le Figaro, France lost 1 million jobs over the course of 20 years due to tax exiles. And I'm getting this from Cécile Crousel, who wrote the article, With Tax Exile, France Lost Jobs. And just a heads up, in case you want to look at this source, I want to warn you in advance that it's written all in French. So I'd advise you to go to, if you want to access it, go use your Chrome browser, and Chrome will allow you to translate it instantly. In case you want to look at that, that's what you can do. So yeah, exactly what I think would happen, what I think seems logical, is that if wealthy individuals are getting taxed most of all their income, they're going to look for somewhere else to go that taxes them less so they can keep more of their income. That's exactly what has happened to France. Now, here is a basic summary. Now, if corporations and wealthy individuals are taxed too little, then millions of others, such as those in the top 25%, end up paying for those taxes. paying for the taxes that corporations and wealthy individuals should be paying. If corporations and wealthy individuals are taxed too much, then there would definitely be less jobs available, because you won't have corporations or entrepreneurs in your country to provide you those jobs. And that is why it is bad to tax them too much or too little. Thank you.